News. Wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. Hope you had a great weekend. Okay, a number of ways we could have started off, but I think we're just going to have to, we can't do them all. So let's look at the sort of mixed reaction that has trailed the nomination of the former chiefs of staff, military chiefs, the former military chiefs, for a non-career ambassadorial role. The president has sent the names of the former service chiefs to the Senate, and he had asked for, dispatch in approving them. Now, of course, we will talk about everything, so this is no exception, and there have been comments both for and how to put it, not so down with the appointments, if you get what I mean. Okay, my guest is Mr. Philip Agbese. Good morning, Philip. Thank you very much for coming on. Philip is president of an NGO called One Nigeria. He is also a defense and foreign affairs analyst. So, like I said, Philip, welcome. And by the way, we should be saying compliments of the season. Never mind that it's February.
Yes,
I guess we will still be at least till the end of February, and the bold among us will continue into March. But seriously speaking, what do you think of the notion that all the former service chiefs have now been nominated for the president, by the president for an ambassadorial role? What does that say to you?
Yes, thank you so much for having me this morning. And to commence this discussion, I would like to crave your indulgence that if we discuss the service chiefs collectively or individually, as they were, we'll still be arriving at a similar conclusion. Reason being that all the former service chiefs, including the Chief of Defense Staff, all giving their best to the service of this country. And within this period of time, they were able to do quite a lot. They were able to meet expectations in diverse ways. And in their own innovative ways, they were also able to create new avenues for us to equally discuss. The discussion about...
I mean, that's one viewpoint that you've just outlined.
Yes.
Not all viewpoints are similar to what you have just outlined.
Yes, and that is the beauty of democracy. The argument, the opinions expressed by Nigerians and even our international partner for and against the nomination of the immediate past service chiefs, as a matter of fact, is a welcome development. It makes our democracy robust and beautiful. The only danger is when discussions begin to degenerate into gutter reasoning, like the ones that we have seen from some vested individuals who actually didn't make any critical assessment other than the fact that they tend to pursue a certain kind of narrative that has been in the air for a very long time. The insinuation that our immediate past service chiefs, who are people who have actually given in their best to the service of this nation, and have really done quite a lot, for the Nigerian Armed Forces in terms of security intervention, under their purview. They all work within the capacity and limitations of their office, and they were able, to deliver within that space. So I would say that...
but the president did say along the line, even directly to the service chiefs themselves, that he was unsatisfied. He was not satisfied with the results that they were getting.
Yes, none of us is...
in other words, the efforts were quite frankly, not satisfactory, even to the president.
No, not their effort. You see, the needed result. We, of course, Mr. President, in his campaign speech, had promised that within a few months in office, he was going to blight out insecurity totally, not just terrorism, but even cases of armed robbery, kidnapping, pickpocketing, and all sorts of crimes across the country. And he had charged the service chief, he wanted them, to bring down the Boko Haram crisis to a halt within a period of 2 or 3 years, which to a large extent the service chiefs, like I mentioned earlier, were able to deliver based on the limitations that they were faced with in office, based on the challenges that they went through. But in all, if we put all the parameters of their service delivery and what they were able to do in office, I'll give it to them that, yes, for the very first time, we got this set of people who really did well in office. Between 1999 to date, no administration has been faced with this kind of security challenges that we have been faced today. And some of these problems are not even created by the correct administration. The administration inherited some of these problems. Some of them were problems that were already primed, to explode, and some are even going to explode in the future. Like the herdsmen farmers crisis that we're experiencing today wasn't a creation of this administration. It has been there before Mr. President came on board, and it is still with us. But government is looking at various avenues, to tackle this problem.
Would you say then that their nominations by Mr. President is, shall we say, rewarding them very much for the kind of things that you are speaking about now, that the president might also have known? I mean, is that the way you think patriots should see it?
Yes, before...
Because as you said, there are insinuations.
Yes, before their nomination, I read on the pages of newspaper, Nigerian civil society, groups, ethnic organizations, CBOs, faith-based organizations, calling on Mr. President to decorate the service chiefs with the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger National Honor. Nigerians wanted that even before Mr. President in his wisdom. And I think for a critical society, one should equally be looking at what would the service chiefs as professionals, bring on board, if the nomination scales through and they are eventually posted, to represent the country abroad as ambassadors of our great country. What have they got to offer as professional military personnel who just left service yesterday? And
that's a question to examine in order to evaluate this move.
Exactly. And I expected that the commentators on public affairs, public intellectuals, and critical people like the political parties and other, stratum of Nigeria will be coming on board from this positive angle. Because over the years, I've gone back to the dictionary to look again at the meaning of opposition. And I haven't seen, anywhere where the meaning has changed into, rejecting everything done by government. That will not help us as a nation. I think even in other civilized societies, the opposition, they once in a while come out boldly to salute efforts of government. I know of Julius Malema in South Africa. Times without number, he has come out, to commend President Cyril Ramaphosa, to say, Mr. President, you have done this right. The opposition is saluting you. We haven't seen that in Nigeria. Are we saying that in the last 5 years or 6 years, this current administration has not done anything right for the opposition to salute? But that's just by the way.
Well, is it really by the way? Or are you, as it were, suggesting that even the naysayers to this move by President Buhari, that there's something of a blanket of the carryover from those very things where, if you say opposition, as you call them, nothing whatsoever that this government does is right. Would you say that a large proportion of this is that kind of a carryover?
Yes.
Is that the point that you are making?
Yes. In fact, a friend suggested the other day that it looks like, the opposition have written something on their system, and what they do is just to, edit names. Once an appointment is made, they remove the name of the new person, add the new name that has just been appointed, and they wrote the rest of the press statement, sometimes even forgetting to change the date.
Something of a template.
Yes, of a template.
So from what you are saying, I see that you don't really have any problem, so to speak, with this at all, that it's a fitting reward for commendable service.
Yes. In fact, I want to go further than that to just saying that it is a fitting reward for commendable service. They have not been appointed to go abroad to sleep. These are professionals.
1 second, please. Let me just take K. Sandu, if I got that right. Good morning, K. Sandu.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning. Calling in from Imo
Good
State.
morning, our guest.
Yeah.
Yes, I call from Ituboma in Imo State.
Okay.
You see, the truth about it is that Nigeria belongs to all of us, and nobody is more Nigerian than another. You rightly said at some point that Mr. President was not satisfactory with the modus operandi or outcome or result of the service chiefs. Yes, service chiefs, the result. And you know, your guest said something. There is no how you have a satisfactory input and you will not have a satisfactory result. The truth about it is that, and this was one of the reasons we clamored for the change of the service chiefs, because we want new things, we want new innovations, we want new ideas, we want a situation whereby we can get something new, because Nigeria belongs to all of us, like I said, and the insecurity of the country makes everybody sick, be you in the opposition or ruling parties. But the another truth about it is that, having relieved these men of this duty, I expected Mr. President to allow them to go back home and settle, because these men they've had a whole lot of troubles over the years serving the nation, and they have contributed their quota to a large extent. Believe you me, even if you are in the other side, I believe that their quota is not good enough, but they've done their part, and history is there to judge, whatever good or bad. But there are millions of Nigerians who are credible, sagacious, and competent to handle these positions, and I think it's not really right for Mr. President to engage these men that are just coming from this Securian tax. Again, there are a whole lot of other persons that could be given these opportunities to contribute their quota so the good growth and development of Nigeria. And that is all we're asking for. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Kesandu, for calling in. Well, that's his perspective. And I also wanted you to factor in, I don't know, I'm a bit confused. I don't know about what the openings are for these ambassadors. This is a non-career ambassadorial appointment. Maybe we need to interrogate that. What exactly does a non-career ambassador do? Who is a non-career ambassador? And Kesandu was bringing up what it is exactly that they could bring to the table. But I wanted you to factor in, if you will, Philip, the fact that the point I made about what are the openings for ambassadors. I understand, if I'm not wrong, that there are some ambassadors that have been appointed but haven't been posted yet, suggesting that the openings might not be there, but that's a delicate area because the Foreign Service will probably know better about this. But I was under the impression that some ambassadors have actually not yet taken up a position, and that is to say, have not been posted.
Well, I am aware that recently the Ministry of Foreign Affairs organized a training for the ambassadors who have actually been posted but are yet to resume duties in this in their various destinations. But coming back to talk about what these new ambassadors, the ambassadors designate, will bring to the table. For instance, let's...
Sorry, sir. Forgive me for interrupting you, but Reverend Dominic is on the line. So let me get his input and then come back to you. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Yori. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Yori, honestly, at times we can be paranoid in our nation. I didn't see any reason. Can I go on?
Yes, please.
I didn't see any reason even talk about this issue. I wish I'm one of the part of the board of editors in TVC. I don't know what to call it. I wouldn't, select this topic as matter. This matter of career ambassadors is a choice of the Mr. President. We have one president here whom you want to send outside to work for him. Whether the person retired yesterday or today, to me, it's not issue. And I know why Nigerians are. The problem of insecurity in Nigeria, honestly, I was one of the people that. But later there's information that is not that if you put 20 out of ministers, the insecurity will continue. Because it's more political than machinery or what I call gun firing. If we sit down in Northeast, as I said before, the leaders of Northeast, political leaders, business leaders, they just sit down one day and say enough is enough. this insecurity will stop because they want.
Thank you very much for calling in, Reverend Dominic. Well, he wouldn't have even brought it up at all, and it's his prerogative. But people are talking about this, and so we wanted to know, is this really that much out of the ordinary, whereupon people will feel free to comment? Or, is there merit to the comments that are coming in?
Yes. What Reverend Dominic has said is very right, and but you see, that is to shut people out of the democratic space. Like I said earlier, that is not very proper, even if it is the right thing to do sometime. But in this case, like he mentioned, resolving the insecurity crisis, as it were, wasn't really an issue, totally for the decision of the service chiefs. Like he mentioned, the political leadership of the Northeast, their commitment was not given. Other stakeholders didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do. And that is exactly what has brought us to the nomination of the past service chiefs for this ambassadorial position. We have critical partners in the United States of America. What is their input? What is their contribution to this war against insurgency? The United Kingdom is supporting. Are they giving all the best that they are supposed to give? France is contributing and supporting. Are they really supporting? Are they frustrating the effort? So by the time you look at, what is still lacking in our prosecution of the war against insurgency and the insecurity crisis that we are having today. Times with that number, we've heard even the governor of Oyo State here mention that these people are coming, are foreigners who are invading the country. So by the time you post people, particularly for someone like Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai retired, who demonstrated clearly a full grasp of the situation and did his best, to attack the situation. But, of course, the military has its own limitations, in terms of resolving the international dimension to the insurgency and all of that. And that's exactly what Mr. President has done today by bringing these people on board so that the time you post them to countries like the United States of America or to the UK or even France, they're able to sit down with our international partners, to say, we have done this in the last 5 years to resolve the security problems. But this is where we are today. Okay. And we think we need help. Our country will need help in these areas. And I strongly believe that these people, will be able to do a lot for us. So let us focus.
At the moment, they haven't been assigned any particular country.
Yes, they've not been assigned any particular country.
Speculation
this
on
speculation.
Our part,
But it could also be a form of advice, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yes. It could be good advice to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Sorry about that. We lost your call. Chinedu in Ikeja. See if you can call in again. Okay.
Good, yeah. So I was saying that in a way of advising the Minister of Foreign Affairs, knowing where that these people are professionals, knowing where the critical partnership that we desire at this point in time, to resolve the security issues. Yeah. For instance, the question of arms,
as we agreed,
yes.
The president hasn't decided what country to post
yes,
them
he has not decided.
But I would have thought that those countries that you were mentioning, for example, would require career ambassadors. That's just my own guess. Those being very, very, very important nations around the world.
I don't know exactly what they require, but I know as a country that right now we require very strong international partnership to be able to resolve this issue of insecurity, particularly the Boko Haram crisis. Yeah. To a large extent, our military, they've done a lot, in tackling the insurgency. What about the multinational cooperation that we are supposed to get from our partner nations? This hasn't really been enough. Then in terms of, organizations that tend to portray our country's human rights record negatively, we should be able to send out ambassadors that are able to represent the country to tell the world our story in our own way.
All right. Michael in Kaduna, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Go right ahead, please.
Mr. Yorin.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, I want to contribute to the discussion going on.
Please do.
Yeah, the fact is just pointing out to just one thing in our country, that we are not ready to give room for the young group. These servicemen, to the best of my knowledge, they have contributed a quota. And it will be fair to the nation to allow them to have a rest. And that is why they went on retirement in the first place. And now it is a tax to our democracy to see if and truly our National Assembly are up there to serve the nation. We will be watching and waiting. If they will confirm them, it is a tax for Nigeria. That is my contribution. Let's see if truly they are not rubber stamped. It is a tax now to prove if they are rubber stamped or they are out to serve us.
Okay, then.
So
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael, for calling in. Did you want to? I thought you wanted to comment on his sentiment.
Yes. Yes, she mentioned the question of not allowing the youth to giving the youth opportunity to serve. I think this particular discussion has nothing to do with whether the youth are given the opportunity to serve or not. And these are people just about 60, 61 years of age. And in terms of representing a large, nation like Nigeria, I don't really think it is something that we should post younger persons who have not been properly trained, in both diplomacy and even a global governance.
Well, I'm just guessing that he was thinking more in terms of these people have had a full career, meritorious, career, depending on how you look at it. And so why take up spaces in the ambassadorial cadre that there are other well-deserving people? But
no, that's not correct. It is not
okay.
actually. No, it is not.
No, you can come and talk to the point, but I wanted to also include, and please hold the point.
It is
so
not
that
a position for unemployed people.
Exactly.
Yes.
There is someone on the line. I can't remember who.
Okay, Ori is Joshua.
Good morning, Mr. Joshua.
Okay, Ori, how are you, sir?
Very well, sir.
And I greet your guest.
Yeah.
Aligning with something here, which I clearly understand. There's a need for us to up our game in terms of using diplomacy to fight this terrorism. And I think it's a very, very strategic appointment for me, for the immediate past service chiefs to go out there and do that work of diplomacy while their newer colleagues are fighting here. We have said several times that the failure of the service chiefs or our military is because they don't have enough equipment and all of these things. And so many things are dragging at the international community. Now that, for example, we have a U.S. government that might be more friendly to us, we need people who understand the terrain, who know what to do, who know what we need, who know the right buttons to press, who know what exactly is on ground here, who can say the right things to the international community. We need them. And the immediate people who have the experience of the war are the ones who should go out there and fight that diplomacy, or at least push that angle of diplomacy for us. We need it, Uncle Yori.
Right,
I hope people will look at it from that direction.
Thank you very, very much for calling in.
Yes.
You approve largely of that submission.
Yes, and that's exactly what we've been saying. So
Yes.
I want to thank Joshua because one thing about our country is that if you listen carefully, through the noise, you always find that voice of reason, that wisdom that is, and that is why a discussion like this is always very important for us, to wrap up whatever noise that is in the air from very informed perspective. And that is exactly what Mr. President has done by nominating these men. People did their best to say that the immediate past service chiefs were sacked. But the statement put out clearly by Mr. President, he stated clearly that he accepted the resignation of these service chiefs. It could be that there was a consensus reached, that for us to be able to take the war to the next level, there's a need for newer persons to come on board. there's a need for
we
a
don't
sense
know.
Yes,
all of that
exactly.
is in the realm of
Exactly.
speculation.
Yes, exactly. You know, there's a need, you know, for the country to also see things better from a different perspective. And Mr. President, in his wisdom, you know, who has been very satisfied with the efforts these people have put in. In the first instance, he's the commander-in-chief. He's in a better position, you know, to tell us who has done well and who hasn't done well. He knows his cabinet. Remember that when Additional, you know, the former Minister of Agriculture, finished in the last dispensation, it was the same president, President Muhammadu Buhari, who nominated him from the ADB position that he occupies today.
Yeah.
Remember again that our president,
I just wanted to say,
our president has supported Okonjo-Iweala.
I've just got to. I'm so sorry, we've run out of time. The point you make about whether or not they were fired, you know, that wasn't clear at all. But with the action of the president, I guess people can now deduce from there that no, they weren't fired, because here they are actually being rewarded for their service. But it was a bit opaque when the action came that there would be a change.
Yes,
but as you said,
it was connoted in military terminology on the basis of their terms of service and, you know, and that aspect. And it is not something
and
the military...
We've been waiting for a change.
Yes, the military...
in fact, a lot of people thought the change was too late.
No, nobody can say the change was
people were. Commentators were.
You see, these are the same commentators who are still, you know, around, you know, to tell us that everything is wrong and we should not accept anything. Once that thing is coming from Mr. President, we shouldn't take it and all of that. But I strongly disagree with this set of people that no, not everything from Mr. President is right. I also disagree with them that not everything from Mr. President is wrong. Largely, Mr. President...
We have to leave it there. But I want to thank you very much. It's a fine place to leave it. Thank you very much, Philip, for coming on. And also, the perspectives we got from home on this, as it turned out, you know, there was one that was really explaining it and was therefore a big I, and yet I think there were a couple of nays in the mix as well. Thank you once again, Philip, for coming on. Okay, stay with us, please. We'll take a break now. We'll be right back.
It's time for Eyigbeti, the private sector-led Lagos Economic Summit. This year's edition is a virtual event for business leaders, academics, techies, and entrepreneurs to set an implementable agenda for a greater Lagos. From the 16th to 18th of February 2021, participants from all over the world will converge to discuss transformational initiatives that will advance the development of Lagos State at the Eyigbeti Online Summit. At the forefront of this summit is the private sector, leading discussions that will provide government with a roadmap for Lagos till 2050. For more than 20 years, Eyigbeti has contributed significantly to infrastructural and policy development in Lagos State. Join the conversation today. Contribute your quota. Register for the conference at www.eyigbetisummit.com. Let's come together for a greater Lagos. Eyigbeti is hosted by the Lagos Economic Summit Group and powered by Stanbic IBTC Pensions, STB Building Society, United Bank for Africa, Providus Bank, Vetiva Capital Management, Leadway Assurance, Premium Pension, Trust Fund Pension, and Ford Foundation.
We congratulate you for progress on your journey. Now, Nigeria's #1 choice of mothers have Molfix Air Dry. Thanks to its ultra absorbency and breathability, Molfix has the dryness all the mothers dream of. So the babies will not experience any rash. Babies are always comfortable. Mothers are too, because they don't need to worry about ventilation. Thanks to Molfix Air Dry, now babies and mothers enjoy the ultimate peace. Come and join the mothers who experience Molfix Air Dry.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Business lives on the fast track of numbers. Business is a strange world where low numbers mean something different. And its currency are speed and time. Finding the open doors of Main Street is not just good business, it's the start of the business. Join us every weekend on Business Week.
On 27th February 2020, Nigeria joined in the battle to contain the ravaging coronavirus. 1 year after, even when it seems the battle has been won, the second wave came with more severe venom, and the world is now shaken like never before. Stay with TVC News this February as we count the cost of the fight and gauge the race for the vaccine. The new strain, testing, lockdown, economy in need of help, enforcement challenges, plight of the frontliners, hospitals under pressure, and dealing with the new normal. Stay with TVC News all through the month of February for special reports and in-depth analysis on TVC News.
Around 8 o'clock like this and begin to shoot everybody.
When it's when they reach there now, we beg them, please, come. They don't help us, but when they spoil everything.
We have reported the matter to the police.
Oh, hello. Actually, we had, left, and we were then told that, you probably can continue on this subject matter a bit more. That is the whole mixed reactions thing to a nomination of ex-service chiefs. As I was saying, there are some who don't buy into the idea of these service chiefs, this being their new assignment, and they have said so. But there are other informed opinions that are saying that, as a matter of fact, those guys are peculiarly placed, having been there, done that, in terms of security objectives, and the efforts have been there. Yeah, we did make the point that the president has had reason to say that he was dissatisfied with results so far, but that led to speculation that were they removed, were they fired? What we just sort of limited ourselves at the time to the journalistic change. They were changed. They had been changed. You can be changed for so many reasons. So, we just didn't know. The announcement wasn't clear about that. But with this, this would appear to be a reward. So I think you don't reward somebody you fired. So I can just, from all of this, conclude that, they're still in the good books of Mr. President. They are, and in fact, he has just indicated the value that he places on them. Now, we made the point about ambassadors that have been appointed before this particular, time, and that haven't really gone anywhere. So they're just there. Will this be different? And then you began to actually think of some of the countries where they might be useful. You thought about the West immediately. I was thinking about our region.
Thank you very much again. Of course, we cannot do the posting here in the studio. I only mentioned the areas where we critical thinkers strongly believe that the application of this gentleman will be helpful for our country. And secondly, for those who do not actually believe, in that Mr. President has done anything good by making this nomination, it's going to be a question of time before, our ambassadors will begin to prove them wrong. They've done this before. When Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai was appointed as the Chief of Army Staff, not many persons gave him the opportunity, to prove his mentor. But within a period of 2 years, he was able to do that by chasing the insurgents even out of Abuja, out of Bauchi, and so many states. By the time they were leaving office, like General Olonishaki retired said in his speech, that he left the service, better than he met the service. And as a matter of fact, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, as we speak, we can still see that what Mr. President has done by nominating him for the appointment is just, to build on the consensus of overwhelming majority of Nigerians.
Okay.
People are still saying that you have done very well.
Okay. Mike in Abuja wants to comment on the subject. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, good morning. It's Mr. Aaron Maikode. Hello?
Good morning.
It's Mr. Aaron Maikode. I actually want to commend the young man in the studio there, and I also want to thank the management of TVC for giving this platform. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
I'm totally in support of the nomination of the Air Service Chief to go and represent Nigeria. You see, like Philip Agbese said, their experience, their past experience is highly needed at this point in time in conjunction with the current service chief to curtail the extravagancy of the hoodlums, the bandits that are killing people across the country. So their nomination to go and represent Nigeria outside the country is highly needed at this point in time. So those who are saying that they are not in support of it, to be honest, I believe they are the enemies of this country. That is my own take.
All right then, thank you very much. That's another impression there, drawing on the wealth of experience that these people have in security matters and the immediate past guys in charge of driving the whole security apparatus, shall we say, of the military. For these guys to just, within months, become diplomatic folk, being able to now contribute to diplomatic conversations. That seems to be the part that both Mike from Abuja and some other people have said it would be invaluable.
Yes, yes. You see, like I mentioned earlier, early this year, the Honorable Minister of Information, in his press conference held in Lagos, he stated clearly that, yes, the military chiefs have done very well, and equally went further to mention the areas where, there were lapses. And these areas were not, directly involved with the military. They had to do with the intervention of some international actors. And he went further to even mention lack of international support. Probably the military chiefs, as they were, must have informed the country that the lack of international support was responsible. And Mr. President, in his wisdom, has said, well, you guys are the better drivers to drive this international support. You know the key areas, and that's why we mentioned the issue of posting. Where, what country? Because, for instance, if you post these professional service chiefs to Rome or to Medina, they won't be doing much because they are not coming from the religious perspective. These are people, professionals who have fought, battles and driven the war against insurgency. And you've seen that even the new president of the United States of America is concerned about the global war against terrorism. America today is looking for partnership, how to drive this war against terrorism to ensure that, global citizens are free. The people of the world are free from all kinds of insurgency.
And these former chiefs have a role to play.
Yes, they have a role. In fact, a commentator last week, as I was reading on the pages of newspaper, described the immediate past chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, an international writer, as the Powell of Africa.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Powell, of course, being the American, Secretary of State.
Exactly.
Having served his country in the military. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. Usman has been waiting for quite a bit in Damaturu, Yobe State. Good morning, Mr. Usman.
Good morning.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Please, I want to make my contribution in respect to the topic.
Sure, please go ahead.
To me, nominating such an intellectual people is people with bad experience is a good initiation for Mr. President has done. Because due to their experience, I know they are going to contribute tremendously excellent when they were screened and approved. So to me, it's a good initiation that Mr. President has done. Because of their experience, I know they are going to contribute tremendously excellent. That's my check-up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Usman. Another yay, so to speak, in as much as we are tallying.
Yes, and that's why I mentioned earlier that I will be speaking, for the Nigerian people. Majority of these persons who spoke against the nomination of the service chiefs, they spoke either because of their employers or because of their political leanings or even religious affiliation.
You're talking about on social media?
On social media,
okay.
And even people who issue statements and grace the pages of newspaper. But at the ordinary Nigerian, the ordinary Nigerian, we truly appreciate the services rendered by the immediate past service chiefs. We truly appreciate the services rendered, by the immediate past Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai. I witnessed some of these events, some of the interventions rendered by the Nigerian Army under his leadership. I was in Abakaliki when the Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, as a tertiary health facility was commissioned, to cater for the needs of both military and civilians. I was in Enugu when the water project was commissioned in Abakpa. I was also in Oshu State where a bridge was built across Kuta community. So the ordinary people appreciate. And even the time that we were calling for the sack of the service chiefs back in Nigeria, international partners were reaching out to Nigeria to commend what they were doing. Okay. Because some of the countries that were fighting insurgency, even before we had a problem in our country, saw exactly how Nigeria was fighting the war and the results being posted by the Nigerian military. They were commending them. Okay. For instance, the former chief of army staff. Before you go to the example,
sorry. Jacob in Surulere, thank you for holding on for a while. Oh dear, we left it too late. I was waiting for... waiting for Philip to land, but I left it too late. So sorry about that, Jacob in Surulere. Try and do better.
So I was trying to say that the question of the service chief, the immediate past service chief, can never be equated with the proverb that the prophet has no honor at home. These are our prophets. We honor them, we respect them, we love the services they render to us, we appreciate their effort, we know where we were, in terms of insecurity crisis before they came on board. And the first 2 years, the charge that was given to them was on Boko Haram.
Okay.
It was in 2019.
Okay, one moment, please. Mazi Okoroafo.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Mazi.
Good morning, Sayori.
Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning. You see, there's nothing, the appointment or no appointment is not what you're saying. For we, as a Nigerian, if you look at what is happening now in terms of terrorism, sending the ex-service defense and the rest outside as ambassadors, there's no problem as an appointment. But the question is this, sending them does not end terrorism. Let me tell you with my own suggestion. If the federal government of Nigeria can track the sponsors of all these terrorists, it will help us. And let me give you an example. You saw what happened in Kenya. In Kenya, they tracked 9 prominent Kenyans who are what? Sponsors of terrorists. By the time they tracked them, what happened now? It now brought the shot, a leverage to the military. How to fight them. Now, what happened at the end of the day? When Trump was in the office, we saw what happened about Trump. Because when Trump moves, he assists in any terrorist attack in any country. Now, Trump left office. You saw what the ex-ambassador did in Kenya and other neighboring countries in Somalia. You see, that will show you that when there's a prominent head of state in the office, it helps to do what? To track down all these terrorists. Now, look at what is happening now in Nigeria. Now, when you tune your radio or TVC every day, there's no day you know about terrorist attack in any country. Now, what do? We have to look for a new strategy. There's nothing about the question that we have to look inward to fight our own terrorist attack in this country. Foreign countries cannot come and solve our problem, but we have talents Let's give them the opportunity. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi. And all the while, Philip was nodding to most of what Mazi was saying, meaning that you buy into the way he is analyzing it.
Yes, because the political actors have made the fight against terrorism in Nigeria look like, only a military solution will be able to help. The agencies that are responsible for tracking terrorists, investigating, and even the radicalization, how much have they done? That is actually not, for today. But I believe that another day you do justice, to this very topic by inviting me again or Mazi or anybody, to come and discuss this issue, because we have a lot to do in terms of supporting the military to fight this war. The terrorists live amongst us.
But I wanted to, you probably will agree, most Nigerians do support the military. Most Nigerians, most ordinary Nigerians.
Most ordinary Nigerians. And that is why, most ordinary
have tremendous respect for our men and women in uniform.
Most ordinary Nigerians, yes.
Let me just take this last caller. Is it Daniel? Was I told Daniel? I couldn't. Daniel in Surulere, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Okay. On the issue of the appointment of service chief, we cannot leave leprosy and be dealing. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We cannot leave the issue of leprosy and be dealing with e-trash. We all are aware that these were the service chiefs that the entire Nigeria rejected. The House of Assembly, both lower and upper chambers, they asked Mr. President to let them go. Finally, he let them go. So how can you reappoint the people that you let go because of lack of performance to now represent the same institution they did not perform? I mean, let's think about it. Mr. President is free to appoint whoever he wants to appoint. But think about it. If they have done well, would they have been asked to go? If they did not do well, why would they be reappointed to represent the same institution that they did not perform well? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel, also for calling in. Yes, we're just getting, what we're doing is that we're getting shades of opinion on this whole matter, which indeed is probably as it should be. As to the point Daniel makes that they had not done well, and he tells how he arrives at that conclusion. We've already discussed that the fact that Mr. President is coming up with this action is endorsing their service while they were in service. Otherwise, as the last caller said, then you'd have the incongruity of if they weren't doing well, why would you honor them?
Well,
so I guess we can conclude that in the eyes of the commander-in-chief of the military, of the Nigerian Armed Forces, they have done a good job. I guess that's the way to look at it.
Yes. You see, when people say that the National Assembly represents the views of the entire country, for me, it's actually a very big...
Jacob that we lost the other time, I think. Was that him? Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning.
Okay. Go ahead now, please.
Okay. Please, I have issue with Nigerian government, especially the Lagos State government. He's not doing his job. Look at motorcycling everywhere. The roads are not spacious enough for people to drive. And you see them in the morning.
Jacob, we're talking about the former service chiefs now being appointed ambassadors, or at least their names have been sent. That's the subject matter.
Okay, because I'm trying to comment on the road.
No. Jacob, I'm sorry. Yes. Another day when we have that topic. But thank you very much for calling in. We're sort of concentrating on the service chiefs, the former service chiefs, that the names have been sent to the National Assembly by the President, to the Senate by the President, and the conversation is on why was that necessary? And then we've been hearing that, of course, it's necessary. Some people saying it's not necessary. And this has been our talk shop this morning. So thank you very much for understanding, Jacob. I guess there's very little more than we can say about the matter, because the President himself, when you look at it, even if we didn't know initially whether or not they were fired, I don't think anybody can still say they were fired now.
No, our patriotic immediate past service chiefs were not fired by Mr. President. The service chiefs in the statement, the official statement by Femi Adesina, said that Mr. President accepted their resignation and he thanked them for their overwhelming performance in office. And as a student of history, I want us to be very fair, because the least that we can do for anybody who has served this country is just to simply say thank you. Let us not rewrite history where there's no need to do so. And let us not judge people on the basis of their ethnic or religious, inclination.
You think any of that is going on?
Yes.
Because when you use words like overwhelming service,
yes.
There are those that it probably sets them off.
No.
Like, look. It's one thing to say they served, but to now come and talk about overwhelmingly beautiful or successful service.
No, I stand to be corrected any day based on the facts available. Between 1999 and 2021, we've not had the kind of issues, numerous security issues that we've, have in this country.
So in that context,
and in that context, remember
you have
that
to
the
score
military,
them well.
The military does not in any way create the problems. We only invite them to help us, solve the problem where the use of force is involved. And you see, I was talking the other day on a similar program like this. We're analyzing, what is actually responsible for the insecurity. Today, we have more insecurity in PDP-controlled states than in any other state. Sokoto is boiling, Zamfara is boiling. And these are the people who continue to try to politicize the insecurity crisis. And we analysts, we have said that no, that politicizing the problem will not even help. Giving it an ethnic coloration will not help. Let us situate the real problems. The real problems lie with governors of state, failing to empower the youth, and these youth taking up arms as the only means, to get their livelihood. These are the people who are, and these very people who contribute to bringing about the security problems, they create the problems.
And you're saying that that is a sort of a PDP exclusive?
No, we have it everywhere.
Okay, yes, because you're saying PDP states.
No, we have it everywhere. And that is why when the PDP...
Because what you were saying was suggesting that as for the APC states, they were not guilty.
No. We are saying that it is a national problem.
Okay, indeed.
But when, yes, there is a national problem. But when people try to use their political inclination to give it a different meaning, it becomes an insult on our sensibility, because it is a problem that exists everywhere.
And
it is even a problem that was created by those that try to proffer some of these non-working solutions to the problem.
All right. Philip, I want to thank you very much, especially for we extended our conversation on it to get more in. And so, Philip Agwese, I want to thank you very much. President of the NGO called One Nigeria, as well as being a foreign affairs and defense analyst. Thank you once again for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure.
And indeed, thanks to you at home too for contributing your perspectives on the problem, on the question, the topic matter as well. Even Reverend Dominic, who said that, why did we even bring this one up? Thank you too, because the more the merrier. And as we try to form an impression as to how exactly am I individually, that is, Nigerians individually, before collectively, seeing this particular move by government. And so that brings us to the end of our program today. I always like to end with the COVID-19 advisory, proper distancing, masking as much as possible, and frequent washing of hands. You do that, they say we have a better chance of standing against the coronavirus. Well, I'm Yori Folaring. See you tomorrow for a fresh edition, God willing. Bye-bye for now.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it.